And we are back. It is Colts Corner with myself, Kevin Bowen, Mark Dykton once again out of the bullpen. And boy, oh boy, we're talking about another ass kicking by the Indianapolis Colts. 40-6 yesterday over the Las Vegas Raiders. Honestly, kind of a it's a different type of blowout, and I think we'll get into that throughout the show. I don't think you necessarily look at the box score and it jumps off the page at you, but definitely a few key statistics where you can really see how and why the Colts were able to have their biggest margin of victory in 12 years. And Mark, I think I want to start there. It's just, well, first off, I should probably say good morning to you. How are you?
Good morning. How are you?
Thank you, as always.
Thank you for having me, as usual.
For doing this. Much, much appreciative. I don't care that these teams are bad. I don't care if they're going to be drafted in the top 10. I said this after the Titans game, and I'll say it again. The Colts did not win a single game by more than 20 points at all last season, at all in 2023, and at all in 2022. And now they've done it 3 times in 5 weeks. They're playing to their standard, not to their competition. Hell, Mark, they've lost to shitty quarterbacks named Taylor Heineke, Jake Browning, Drew Lock, Brock
Osweiler.
Yes, there's a much longer list in recent years, and not only are they taking care of these teams, they're doing them in really emphatic fashion. And again, just a year ago, all 8 of your wins were by 1 score. So to me, it's very impressive, just the thoroughness to these margins, running away from these teams. I'm curious, big picture, what does this early season confidence do for you? We've never seen the Colts play from ahead in a season. It's been years. So now when you go to Arrowhead or go to Pittsburgh or go to Seattle, do you play with a little bit more confidence? And now that one possession game, does it go your way? Whereas in LA, it didn't go your way. Those sorts of things I'm really curious about when you look at it big picture.
I think it also just means like you're stacking these wins against bad teams, so you have house money to play with in these bigger games down the line when the schedule does get a bit tougher.
Or the injury bug starts to hit you, a little bit more, those sorts of things. I think that's really good to point out as well. They're winning at home. That hasn't been a guarantee in recent years. They were 500 at home under Steichen. Before that, I think all of that are things that stand out to me. But again, the 3 wins by 20 points in 5 weeks, like last year, I want to say the Bills and the Ravens maybe were the only 2 teams that had 3 such wins over an entire season. Like NFL teams don't blow out other NFL teams. And they typically don't do it more than once in a year, maybe twice. And the Colts have now done it 3 times in 5 weeks. So major credit. It's a definition of complimentary football, and that was obviously something that Shane Steichen focused on a ton in the offseason. And they've had it going so far.
All right, you want to get into what you liked yesterday? Plenty to get into with that.
Yes, sir. Where are we starting?
Big first half plays.
Okay, so this is where we start to get into this, Mark, about like the blowout was a little bit different than the other ones. Is there a more misleading comment than this? The Raiders won 2 quarters yesterday and the Colts won 2 quarters yesterday.
Yeah, because if you didn't watch the game and just saw the box score, that's impossible. What are you talking about?
The Raiders won the first and the fourth, and the Colts won the second and the third. You look at the yardage. The Colts only outgained, and how about this? The Colts had 317 yards yesterday. The Colts had 21 more yards than the Raiders. They had actually more penalty yardage than the Raiders. Like, you see that in the box score, and you probably think, oh, 1 possession game. But no, it was the biggest margin again in 12 years. Okay, why? The Colts were a perfect 6 of 6 in the red zone. The Raiders were 0 for 4. So just do red zone math there for a second. Let's say instead of scoring 7, you settle for 3. All right, that's a 4-point difference. I just said 10 red zone drives, 6 for the Colts, 4 for the Raiders. 10 times 4 is 40. That's a 40-point margin if you look at it like that, and the final score was, close to that. So, I mean, honestly, so much of this game came down to the red zone. And yes, the Colts did have 2 more red zone chances than the Raiders, so obviously that matters. But you converting and you stopping them was the difference. As far as specifically the big first half plays, I look at nothing bigger than Josh Downs on the 3rd and 12. That was a play, Mark, where Daniel Jones was very content throwing short of the sticks there. It's a play that looks like, you're going to be running the field goal unit on there for whatever, a mid-length field goal, and Downs breaks 1, 2, 3 tackles to turn whatever, a 6-7 yard dump into 14, 13. I mean, just a hell of an effort by Josh Downs. Tyler Warren is not spiking the football unless Josh Downs does that. So that is the first play I'll point to. Shegun Alubi on the block punt, certainly. That wasn't even like the Colts trying to block it. That was Alubi thinking to himself, man, I don't think that outside guy's going to be able to get to me here. And hell, he almost blocked it. He almost maybe eliminated kids from his future with how he blocked that punt there.
The Raiders need to reevaluate their special teams. That's the second time. A field goal last week, a punt this week. Not good from them.
Hell, they got their punter hurt.
Yeah.
And obviously, I think they might have had some retaliation after that. And then lastly, Grover Stewart getting his big old paw up there. Latu gets to celebrate the pick and all that, but it doesn't happen without Grover. And, think about those plays. Okay, the Colts are down 3-0 when Downs makes that play. Maybe that's 3-3. In the middle of the second quarter, 3-3. That sounds weird. Geno Smith is adamant he had a dude wide open in the back of the end zone on the Grover Stewart play. Okay, let's say Grover doesn't get his hand up there. Geno throws that in there. We're talking probably 14-10 at half.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it just sounds so different when you say it out loud. So, again, in a month, in 2 months, we're going to look back at 40-6 and be like, man, what an absolute dismantling. And obviously, it turned into that. But you got to mention these first half plays. They're so important to, again, taking Ashton Genty out of the game, taking Max Crosby and not putting him into these obvious passing situations. So before we moved on to anything else, Mark, I just wanted to make sure we pointed out some of those first half plays there because they were so critical in a scoreless first quarter for the first time all season, turning into a 3-score halftime lead.
Yeah, I mean, there was a couple, even early in the game, there was a play where Max Crosby just whipped around the offensive line and just got to Jonathan Taylor in an instant. I'm like, oh boy, that could be trouble if that keeps up going on. And that was early in the game.
Didn't get Taylor going yesterday. I mean, Taylor had his quietest day of the season. So again, why? How were you able to build this lead? Here's a little bit of the reasons why. All
right, next up, Daniel Jones operating.
Yeah, operating to me, I think, is a key word. Daniel Jones, he threw for 219, 212? 212 and 2 touchdowns. That's a fine fantasy football day. It's not the most eye-popping fantasy football day. But then look at the bigger team stats offensively. 6 of 6 in the red zone. 8 of 10 on third down. That's
insane.
A franchise record. How about also tying a franchise record with 6 straight touchdown drives? So when I say Daniel Jones, I want to point to him operating an offense that is putting up numbers in a 60-minute game that we haven't seen in franchise history, or it ties franchise records. Mm-hmm. And obviously, look at the quarterbacks that have played for this franchise. So for the day that Jones had, I was glad he had the highlight there at the end of the first half, which is another play I probably should have mentioned as well. Because to me, that was the best individual play of Jones' season, where you are rolling out to the right. I think they're at the 4-yard line. They had no timeouts, less than 20 seconds. At that point, I thought to yourself, okay, you got 2 shots at it probably through the air, maybe a third, but your quarterback's got to be really smart here. You can't obviously take a sack. You can't dump one short of the goal line and run the risk of getting tackled in the field of play. All of that is super, super risky. So he rolls to his right, and as he's rolling, there is pressure. And I'm thinking to myself, just throw it out of the back of the end zone. Live to see the next down. And instead, A, he shows the athletic ability to roll out. B, he then shows the poise to stay in the play. He doesn't panic early. He stays in the play. And then C, he shows off the arm velocity to rifle one to Michael Pittman Jr. It was risky, and he found the reward. And those are the types of plays, Mark, that's what separates quarterbacks. I mean, if you want to look at it, Geno Smith throws a pick on the other end of the field, and then Daniel Jones makes that play. If I said to you at the start of the year, Geno Smith, Daniel Jones, you probably would have said, Geno Smith's a little better. But maybe similar tiers. Mm-hmm. That's what tiers quarterbacks differently, though. When all of a sudden you're getting a huge play in the red zone, it's a condensed area of the field, you're going to need your quarterback to maybe have some self-creation. The X's and O that you draw up there's probably not going to be exactly how it works. Can your quarterback make a play? And that's exactly what that play was.
And I just feel like Daniel Jones, like, yeah, if you look at just the box score, like his numbers aren't like going to blow you away, but he's just commanding the offense the way we haven't seen anybody do with Shane Steichen's scheme. And it's just like he's doing what he wants out there. He's making things happen. Like you said, he's not throwing the ball away because he has the confidence now that he's trusting what his eyes are seeing. And that's something we haven't seen with Colts quarterbacks in recent years, where they're doubting the playbook or they're doubting what they're seeing or they're hesitant. He's not showing that, and he's obviously excelling quite well in it.
And like part of me thinks when the Colts send in like their AFC Offensive Player of the Week nomination for this week, they should like send in the Daniel Jones and then be like, FYI, he didn't play in the fourth quarter.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So if he did, that might look like 290 and 3 touchdowns. So again, Daniel Jones operating. That, to me, I think is really, really key. And also, he's part of the group that did a great job on Max Crosby. And to me, I think that's another key of like, I don't know if I put it in something I liked, Mark, but specifically for me, said this to you on the morning show all week long. You let a star player have a historic day the previous week. Don't do that again. Mm-hmm. Puka Nacua did that to you. And instead, Max Crosby, just a fine day. Mm-hmm. And honestly, probably a below average day for Crosby. Only 1 tackle for loss on the first drive of the game, only 1 ball batted down, and only 1 quarterback hit. I mean, you watched him play your Bears the week prior. He did a lot more damage than that.
He was a madman in the first half, yeah. When he wrapped Taylor, I was like, oh boy, here we go. And then you didn't really hear people from him after that.
So the plan for him, obviously, was very detailed and executed well. And your quarterback is a big part of that.
Ashton Dulin's professionalism is the last thing on what you liked.
So they sent the message to A.D. Mitchell. Frankly, I think A.D. Mitchell would have been inactive if Alec Pierce would have stayed healthy throughout the week, and that's obviously unfortunate, Pierce to have the late week setback due to the concussion. So they had to dress him, but clearly they wanted to punish him in a way, and I think you saw that. He didn't play through the first 3 quarters of the game. His helmet was off like several times. I looked down there. That is super rare. Like if you are an offensive player and your team is having to drive, you have your helmet on. Like all it takes is, one little shoulder pad issue or one little whatever shoe issue, and you're going to need to go out there. Like he wasn't even looking like a guy that was about to go in the game. So clearly they wanted to send a message to A.D. Mitchell. And honestly, the message they sent was pretty strong. Pretty much he got benched. But also, the guy that then replaced him did everything you could want for a coach. He is still doing his special team stuff. Punt, gunner, kickoff, kick return. Hell, he took one to the house. And then as a receiver, he's just trustworthy. 2 catches, 55 yards. I frankly thought he should have caught the one that I thought he got his head blown off on when Jeremy Chin smoked him on the sideline. He drew the pass interference penalty down the field as well. It seemed like the perfect storm for the Colts in saying, you know what, we're going to send this message to A.D. Mitchell, and then we're going to have somebody go out there and take his snaps and do everything that we want A.D. Mitchell to do. Be reliable, be trustworthy, be a guy you can count on, and that's exactly what Dulin did. It's
a dude who is not taking the opportunities he's given for granted. He's out there. He's like, I'm not coming off this field unless I'm injured. Even then, he might not come. He might not come off unless he's forced to, because he's just showing that I'm versatile. You need me there. You tell me where to go, and I'll be there.
Yeah.
You ask me to return punts, I'll do that. You need someone to kick because Schrader's hurt? Maybe I'll do that too. He's just a guy that, he's one of those guys that you would love to have on your team. And like you said on the show this morning, he's lasted through 3 coaching changes. That doesn't happen usually. Usually coaches want to bring their own guys in and all that. That tells you what everybody thinks of Ashton Dulin, that he is a guy you can trust. It doesn't matter what coaching staff comes in. Like, this guy is a dude that we can have on our team. He can play for us every single day.
And look, they've drafted a lot of wideouts since he's been here.
Yeah.
Pittman, Pierce, Downs, Mitchell, and yet he's the one that has stayed throughout all of this. And, I made this analogy on our morning show. Like, I'm sitting there watching the game yesterday. I'm like, gosh, he just does everything the coaches ask of him. I'm like, he strikes me as like the perfect Matt Painter Purdue role player. He's Mason Gillis. He's C.J. Cox. He's Grady Eifert, if you go back to those. Just the perfect role player. Like,
He's not getting the NIL deal.
No.
It's for the
Not
love
at
of the
all.
game.
No, not at all. He might get the other friend at the bar, while the star player gets the other one. But that aspect to him, he just delivers. And again, they wanted to send a message to A.D. Mitchell. The coaching staff was clearly very upset. I think they were even more upset because the crossing the goal line was emphasized emphatically as late as the night before the Rams game. And then for watching that play out the next day, and the holding penalty obviously created even more frustration, they wanted to send a message. So, scout team throughout the week for him. And then once Alec Pierce had the setback, okay, well, I guess we have to, they had a lot of injuries last week. They had 4 inactives. So Mike Hilton was needed for Kenny Moore. With Tyler Goodson out, they needed a running back. So there's Amir Abdullah. Mm-hmm. You only get 2 practice squad call-ups, so you had to keep Mitchell active in that realm. But they sent the message and saying, hey, your 50-some snaps you got against the Rams, those are going to Dulin. He actually played a career high, 47 offensive snaps for Ashton Dulin.
All right, things he didn't like, injuries.
Spencer Schrader thing. Can you find the dude? It just looked bad. I don't know. Maybe letter of the law. Maybe he was fine. Maybe he was just trying to block it. But I don't know. That just kind of rubbed me the wrong way. And again, maybe whatever. By the actual rule book, it wasn't a penalty there, but that just looked awful. So, I thought they should have tried to kick it later with Sanchez. I'm like, do they really need to keep on going for these 2-point conversions? I'm like, why not have Drew Ogletree snap it, Luke Rhodes hold it?
Yeah, see what you got at that point. It was like a preseason game at that point.
And you never know when that might encounter in a game. You randomly see kickers get hurt. I mean, hell, the Raiders punter, I don't know if you saw it, he kept on limping out there to hold, just to kind of keep their operation as much in store as they could there. But yeah, that Schrader injury, you feel awful for him. So now what do? The Atlanta kicker, the one that when you say his name out loud, you're like, wait, is that how it really sounds?
Young Hoku?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I feel like I still am saying it incorrectly.
I know. Is that right? Are you sure about that?
No.
It sounds like you're out in Vegas late at night. It sounds like something Mark Sanchez was trying to encounter late on Friday night.
I'm glad you said that, not me.
Yeah. Well, what a just dumbass. What a drunken buffoon. Unbelievable.
Shockingly, that's not on your things you didn't like.
That needs to be first on the list.
I know. It should be.
Shout out to Brady Quinn. That's a Notre Dame class act stepping in, Wendy. And I watched the first half last night when I got home. I thought Brady Quinn did a really nice job.
He was solid. He was very solid.
So, are you doing the kicker tour? We always see the kicker tour. What about Buffalo? Is Prater going to be out for a while? I don't. People keep on asking me about Justin Tucker. Isn't he suspended for a while? You got.
I think he's suspended at least for the first 6 games, if not longer.
Oh, I thought it was like 10.
I'll have to check. It might be longer than that.
Well, we're only at week 6, so you obviously need a kicker here for the next month or so. So we'll see how it goes. And then Grover Stewart with the bicep. He looked to be okay, but I get he didn't go back in the game at 40. Boy, he blew up that 4th and inches. I don't know. Big dudes and biceps always make me worry. And then the Colts have been awful without Grover Stewart on the field and stopping the run. So that always has a little concern on me. But obviously the Spencer Schrader one is probably, Shane Steichen was not optimistic at all.
Justin Tucker is suspended for the first 10 games.
Yeah, so
that's
even before you get into the
PR nightmare.
Right, with the Irsay daughters sign off on that.
Zero chance.
I think you know your answer there. The dude can't kick for at least another month. So, yeah, that to me was the biggest negative, Mark.
All right, the next one on your list, his name is Joe Bocci, but maybe Joe Hibachi after yesterday.
Oh, look at that. Look at that. Did you plan that?
Not, but
excellent.
I'm taking a note from James Boyd here.
Excellent work there take that and run with it by Mark Dykton. Linebacker play stinks. It stinks, especially next to Franklin. And
we kind of knew that heading into the season. That was one of our big positional concerns was linebacker, and it hasn't gotten much better through 5 weeks.
Their leading tackler yesterday, Austin Ajaki, he wasn't even on the team at the start of the season. And yet they brought him back, and then they've signed him to the 53rd roster. They're trying everybody next to Franklin. Bocce snaps continue to go down. Chad Muma's playing a little bit. I want to see Alubi again. I mean, I get that he's never really been in the 2020. He's not been the Lou Anarumo guy by any means at linebacker. And I don't think the Jalen Carlisle's return is imminent either. So, yeah, they got to figure out linebacker. And because they were very fortunate that Brock Bowers and Michael Mayer were in street clothes. And if Kyler Murray's healthy, well, it could be Jacoby Brissett time. Trey McBride, I mean, that could be a pretty active day for him as a tight end.
I feel like, aside from Zaire Franklin, you could play the game of Colts linebacker or Indianapolis Indian, and you wouldn't know. It'd be throwing darts.
So true. That's really well. That sounds like a good show segment.
I know. All right, let's get into Twitter questions if you're ready.
Let's do it.
All right, King starts us off. He said, AD has a world of talent, but seems to consistently have some type of mental lapse. So with how the coaches have picked experience over potential, is it safe to say Ashton Dulin is the new AD? He's the OG AD, that's for sure.
Yeah. I literally just pictured Jesus as soon as you said AD. And I don't know where to go after that.
You're stuck in Sunday school?
I'm just stuck. Yeah, I'm just stuck. Right now, good beard Jesus is what I'm looking at right now.
Tinges.
Mark, if Alec Pierce is out next week, there's no chance you go back to A.D. Mitchell.
No, I can't imagine it.
I just, and let me be very clear.
It's the Cardinals anyway. I mean, I guess you really would think, boy, A.D. Mitchell and Mari, what's his name, DeMarcado, yeah. Both out on the same field. Can you imagine that?
Both coaches should send those two out for the coin flip. Each of them need a boost of confidence.
Yeah.
And don't drop the coin. Don't pick up the coin off the field. Let the coin fall. I think Dulin, let me start here on Mitchell. I was totally fine with him inactive or benched like he was yesterday. Totally fine with that. I don't think it needs to last more than a week. But having said that, I don't, like, him not playing, I don't put in the punishment category anymore. Let me start there. But I think Ashton Dulin has earned the right to be above him on the down in, down out depth chart. Now, could you lessen the load a little bit on Ashton Dulin? Again, 47 snaps was a career high for him. Or Michael Pittman Jr., who missed, last week one day, or was limited one day with a hamstring injury. Yeah, I'm fine with that. He didn't play a meaningful snap yesterday, Mitchell. I'm good with him playing a little bit of meaningful snaps next week. But again, he can purely win one-on-one. Can you dial that up in a half dozen snaps? Sure. Dulin has some limitations there, but still, to me, the guy I trust more is largely that. And think about it. Your third or your fourth wideout in the route tree, it's largely like, do you trust the guy?
Mm-hmm.
Like, can you run a hard route when you know you're probably not getting the ball? That helps with, keeping the defense honest. That helps with, all of a sudden, Mekhi Blackman falls down and Tutu Atwell's wide open. Matthew Stafford's like, oh my gosh, of course I'm going to throw it to him. Those sorts of things.
Yeah, you see mismatches you can take advantage of later in the game or something.
Right. So, but I would keep the who gets the bulk of the Alec Pierce role if Pierce is out. To me, it deserves to be Dulin.
Yeah, I'm fine if A.D. Mitchell is involved in the game plan. I think he's better in kind of like, a change of pace kind of guy or something like that. Start A.D. Mitchell, start Ashton Dulin, but have them, rotate throughout the game and keep the defense honest. So you got different schemes and looks going out there and everything like that. Do I think he needs to be benched through the bye week? No, absolutely not. But you do need to find some role for him because if you're not finding a role for him against the Cardinals, I can't see he's getting much run against the Chargers or the Falcons or the Steelers down the line. So,
I think you sprinkle. Literally, Reggie Wayne should have the ultimate teach tape today for A.D. Mitchell. There with, and by the way, I do want to read this from Reggie Wayne. I tweeted during the game, Mark, did you see the Richardson overthrow of Mitchell?
Yes.
20 yards over his head? Mm-hmm. Clear miscommunication. So I pretty much tweeted that. I go, and third down, Richardson throws it 20 yards over Mitchell's head in a clear miscommunication. Some dude replies to me and tagged Reggie Wayne and goes, that was all on AD based on the reaction at Reggie Wayne had after the play, and AD was walking back on the sideline. Reggie responds to that dude after the game and goes, you have no idea what you're talking about, in all caps, dead wrong. So who knows? The fact that Reggie Wayne feels the need to go to Twitter there, obviously him and Mitchell weren't on the Richardson, that is. Him and Mitchell weren't on the same page. I don't know if I have the energy to play the blame game on that, but I just thought I'd share it.
Pretty interesting. We'll have to see where that goes. All right, Colts Maniac up next says, I know it's unlikely, but with us being 4-1 and having the potential need for a reliable kicker, if Spencer Schrader is going to miss significant time, the Colts try and pick up a future Hall of Fame kicker such as Justin Tucker. Again,
yeah, we got
suspended through the first 10 games.
Right. I mean, we got a few of these questions. I think Joel sent one of these in too. I mean, again, you got to start there. Like, let's say Spencer Schrader or whatever broke his leg or knee ligament stuff. He's going to miss a significant amount of time. Like, you need a kicker on Sunday. So Maddox Trujillo, I don't believe is on a roster anyway. He was on the roster in the offseason. Never kicked in the NFL, of course. Or do you go the veteran market? I'd probably opt for the veteran market, and I don't know. I thought the dude in Atlanta was halfway good. Say that again. His name, the Falcons guy.
Young Ho Koo.
Yeah,
I think that's how you say it.
Young Ho Koo.
I'm scared. You keep asking me to do that. I'm gonna get in
it's
trouble.
Not Young Wei. It's Young Ho.
Young Wei. Yeah,
Young
it's something like. I know I'm saying it wrong. I'm sure I am.
Yeah. Well, sometimes in your brain, in the maturity level, I'm a little nervous where you're at. I don't know what the Buffalo. I haven't kept tabs on the kickers around the league. Buffalo's got Prater, and Bass should be coming back at some point, right? I mean, I don't know. Go find one of these kickers and.
What about Rodrigo? You want to bring Rodrigo back?
So where was he kicking? He kicked well, right? Was it XFL,
the
CFL,
UFL,
UFL? Okay.
St. Louis Battlehawks.
Dude, I don't know if I can't do rec specs again.
You want me to name some guys who are available? Anybody?
Sure.
Okay, Rodrigo Blankenship.
This is unbelievable.
Zane Gonzalez.
No, okay, yeah.
Dustin Hopkins.
Oh, sure. Hopkins, yeah, Florida State guy, right?
Greg Joseph.
Yeah.
Young Wei Koo. Sure. And then Maddox Trujillo. And a couple other guys I'm not even sure. I've never heard of them before.
Can you imagine playing the Jersey game? Can you name how many teams those guys played for? Yeah, so that's what probably Monday or Tuesday is going to look like for the Colts here. So that's where you're at. As far as Tucker's concerned, I'm going to say no. And I'm going to say it pretty emphatically. First off,
I would be stunned.
He can't play football until your bye week.
Right.
So you need a kicker for the next month, and then
he can make the trip to Berlin. I guess that's technically. Oh no, you're right. He would have to be after the bye week. Yeah. So yeah, that didn't make sense.
I mean, the allegations are definitely not. Or I mean, I would. Did he get charged? I don't even know where.
I would say
where everything stands legally, but I'm going to go out on a limb and say the Irsay girls probably not fans of that.
If I had your money, I would say there is zero chance that they would sign Justin Tucker, and I'd feel incredibly confident that would be the case. So yeah, I'd put any Justin Tucker discussion to the side because there's no way that's happening. They need a kicker now, and they're also not going to take on that PR nightmare with the daughters involved in the ownership now. So
yes, amen.
Put that to the side. All right, Randy says, how is Joe Bocci still on this team, let alone starting? Have you seen the other linebackers?
Yeah. Yeah, the Bocci story was, it's a nice little camp story, but, even then it's kind of like, all right, yes, there's a play or two, but I thought pretty early in the year you could see, man, this is a liability. And even like, honestly, you just haven't had a lot of linebacker impact. Like, I know Franklin had the sack yesterday, but still, I just feel like that position group in general, like right now, if we're going to critical eye the Colts, I would say like linebacker play, still depth at corner, and then like Kwity Paye. Like that's just a little like, all right, when you face legit offenses, I mean, again, the Raiders down their left tackle, their two top tight ends, clearly Geno Smith is having some issues. When you face more competency on that side of the ball, what happens? Because again, the Colts have had thorough beatdowns of opponents. You could also probably sit here and say, when the Colts have faced two competent opponents, both games have gone down to the final play. Mm-hmm. Pretty much. Broncos and Rams. So, yeah, I guess a GK deserves maybe a little bit more of a role. Again, Alubi, I thought when he played linebacker, he was halfway decent. I realized that was the Gus Bradley era. Hell, there was part of me, Mark, that thought, does Shaq Leonard have anything left in the tank? Hell, his energy, I'm kidding by that, but man, his energy.
I mean, I'm sure he'd like to suit up. Oh, I'm sure if you gave him the chance.
He's wired. I went to his press conference before the game started. He is so fired up in there talking about, yeah, I'm coaching my high school team, and right now we have no defensive player over 200 pounds. But yet we still fight, and I'm like, gosh, man, his energy is just through the. He banged that anvil.
I was going to say, great as anvil bang.
Yeah, he brought it. Yes, his slightly different than Edgerrin James' smooth operator.
Yeah,
anvil earlier in the year.
Mm-hmm. All right, last one of Twitter questions was Big Bama. Said, if you can circle a particular upcoming game on the schedule or a scenario situation for Daniel Jones, what would make Ballard say, okay, I've seen enough, he's our guy for the future?
Yeah, I mean, one game. I don't know. It's hard to boil these things down to one game, As great as Daniel Jones looks yesterday, then all of a sudden you're like watching Geno Smith and you're like, man, is that what you could walk yourself into? Well,
are you saying it's one game in particular? Or are you saying like that would be the, okay, we've seen enough to this point that now is extension talk?
Yeah, I guess, the debate right now is either do you tag him or do you extend him, right?
Right.
That's, the debate is not, he's going to be your quarterback in 2026 through the first 5 games of the season, right? That's like a given. So now the debate would be this. I don't know. Would injury history worry you at all? Like, would you want him? He hasn't played a full season, right, in his career. Is that something you would?
You have to consider it, but
yeah. Like, does that creep into your?
I feel like that goes for every player in every sport.
Well, yes. I just think his injury history is a little bit more. We're not talking about whatever Josh Allen. From a durability standpoint, or the Mannings here. The Wentz season went off the rails, but I just can't envision that. I'm trying to think of other situations. Jacoby and them started 5-2, but I don't know. I think Daniel Jones got a little bit more individual talent there. So yeah, I don't know if there's necessarily like one game on the schedule. Like,
how about this one?
Like, you go win at Kansas City, and then all of a sudden you hand them the extension that Monday?
How about this? Sunday, December 7th at Jacksonville. You get that win at Jacksonville. You sign that man to a contract extension before you get on the tarmac.
He goes up to the pool in Jacksonville, sits in the pool, and signs the extension in there with a nice Mai Tai.
Gives a nuts grab to Jackson DeVille. How you like that?
Oh, man. But yeah, right now, I don't know. I think the real debate just comes down to franchise tag. Ballard has always.
How do you think they would play that? By the way, would you think they'd go extension, or would they go? We're just going to hit the tag on you.
Part of me thinks, do you extend Jones and tag Pierce? Remember, you can only use tag on one guy.
That's a fun dilemma to have. I feel like.
Yeah, it's
considering how we thought we were going to have the quarterback situation.
And then
play
again,
out.
do you get into length of that contract? Is this a situation where, hey, let's do, because what was the initial one? Was it 2, 3? Or do you try and go something a little bit longer than that? And then we've heard Ballard recently say, hey, a mistake that I felt like I made was, I didn't do a good enough job finding the next quarterback while you still have one that can give you a level of play that you like. So does that mean even if you extend Daniel Jones, do you keep the 2026 quarterback class close to the burner? 2027 like
Ballard says it's easiest to draft when you have one under.
So these are all very debatable topics, certainly. For the most part, I know Ballard has given in-season extensions, not many, but for the most part, he's a big believer in I'll let the deadlines spur the action.
Mm-hmm.
He'll wait, and I think given Pierce's concussion, I guess state right now. And Daniel Jones' injury, I think it's fine to hold off. I don't think you could tag him at any point, or once that window opens up in February or whatever. And I would maybe Jones's agent would hardball you a little bit, but let's be honest, he's reviving his career here. Are you really going to risk it and go somewhere else?
And he chose to come here in free agency. He could have gone somewhere else.
Right. And I'm pretty sure Minnesota offered more money than Indy too. I'm pretty sure of that.
If Chris Ballard gets Daniel Jones' agent on the phone and they offer him the Sam Darnold contract, so 3 years, a little over $100 million, do you think he takes that? And would you want him to sign for that?
Yeah, I think
it's about $33.5 million a year.
Yeah.
You would do that?
ask me again in
You think
in a
about
month and a
Jesus
half,
again?
But yeah, I did. By the way, speaking of, I don't know if this is a good transition or not. Can I give a birthday shout out to my lovely wife?
Sure.
Happy birthday to Maddie Bowen. Makes incredible sacrifices for our family, and hope she has a wonderful day. There is no chance in the world she's listening to this podcast. Right?
Zero chance.
No chance, let alone the final minute of the podcast. She is a big Mark Dykton fan. But
I'll shoot her a text later. That's gone well before.
Easy now. Hey, happy birthday to my lovely wife. She's incredible, and I love her.
Well done, Maddie. Thanks for putting up Kevin.
We've hit the bingo card. We've gone with Mark Sanchez in the alley. We've gone with Jesus. We've gone with Clipboard Jesus. Have we mentioned Charlie Whitehurst yet?
No.
Have we not gone there?
We can hit that, though.
What do you want to know about Mark Sanchez in the alley? Anything else you want to know? What the hell was he doing? That's a 69-year-old dude. He tried to end his life.
Yeah, I don't understand.
Was he on something?
I mean, I've been drunk before. I've never been to that point where I'm accosting strangers in their vehicles and everything.
He took him out. He opened the car door.
Yeah, I don't understand why he was playing parking police. You can't park here. What? Okay.
He tries to get one of those meter things, those things you wear around your neck. Yeah, every time I see those people, I'm just always like, oh.
I mean, I want to see the video. I don't know if I don't know how gruesome it is or anything like that, but I do want to see
sprinting
it.
Down the alley. I probably don't need to see knives being pulled or that, but
I mean,
maybe he sat there at the bar and maybe someone said to him, butt fumble guy. And he thought to himself, you know what? I'm done with this. Butt fumble needs to be second on the Google search.
I'll show you.
When they search me, I want alley guy and then butt fumble.
I just remember reading that story and I'm like, what is happening today? What's going on?
Oh, I was coaching Rosie's soccer game, and all of a sudden someone texts me, and I check my phone at halftime. They're like, you're about to see Mark Sanchez stabbed as a headline. Just so you know, he's the suspect. I'm like, okay. I'm
super confused.
I'm like, this is about to be juicy.
The Sanchez? Are you talking about?
I'm in social media with just one of the most social media afternoons you'll ever see. Just delete button like none other. Edit.
You're saying they jumped the gun? I find that shocking.
Regret, and then the more the infos come out, just incredible. Hope the 69-year-old man is okay. Hope Mark Sanchez is okay, and Brady Quinn delivering again.
I was gonna say, was that another Notre Dame win over USC? Right?
Yeah, it is. Notre Dame's been better than USC for the last decade or so, and that's another one.
Yeah, because Brady Quinn's like, you know what, I got it.
Hey, let's be honest, Brady Quinn better looking than Mark Sanchez, right?
You ask Ashley Dykton, she will vehemently agree.
Oh, good. Thank you for that.
So there you go.
Mark Dykton, thank you.
Well, we hit all cylinders today.
Colts
really
Corner.
Did.
Signing off here, week 5. We transition to the Arizona Cardinals. I think it opened at 5.5, I believe. We'll see about Kyler Murray's foot. For those that haven't watched the Cardinals all year.
Oh, boy, what a loss that was.
All one-possession games, 2 wins, 3 straight losses. They've lost all 3 on the final play of regulation. I want to say 5 total points. Their games have been decided by 13 total points this year. Something just ridiculous. And we'll see. Could be Jacoby Brissett homecoming. Do they go Brissett tribute video?
I mean, why wouldn't you?
Only show the QB sneaks?
Mm-hmm. That would be a juicy storyline. If Kyler Murray can't go, I know that loses a little bit of luster, but locally, I kind of like to see it.
Kyler Murray went beanie indoors yesterday. I'm like, okay, interesting. Is he a wrestler cutting weight?
That was such an awful game to lose.
Dude,
that was just mind-boggling how they lost that game. I was watching that game on Red Zone like, well, there's no way the Titans are pulling this off. And sure enough, they found a way.
That was epic.
Brian Callahan lasts another week.
Did he get doused with Gatorade? I
think so.
I saw him like that is tremendous. Goes from fired to, doused with Gatorade. Mark Dykton, excellent work. This is Colts Corner with myself, Kevin Bowen, signing off. Thank you all for listening. We'll talk to you on Wednesday.